Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Thank you for noticing. 888-900-3393. Notice you're here with us. Thanks for being here. Great to have you. Don't forget to sign up at blazetv.com/Pat. Get your subscription.
Do it.
And you'll save $15 on that subscription when you use the promo code More Unleashed, because you're getting More Unleashed. It's called Overtime.
Yeah, I mean, that gets you access to not only this show and the Overtime,
but all the Glenn stuff, Stu stuff that he does behind the paywall. I don't know what Stu does. Does Stu do a thing behind the...
Well, I know Overtime is done by Steve Dace.
Chad
right? Prather has started
doing
Overtime. So there's a lot of bonus content.
Tons. And we're happy. It's fun. We have a good time every day. It's not extra work. It's just extra fun. blazetv.com/Pat. Plus, you can let us know what you'd like to hear about or see us do on Overtime as well. We'd love to hear from you because we do it for you. Just like the old jingle package I mentioned yesterday. Yesterday, Joe Biden gave a press conference. He was asked if he wanted to walk back his comments on Putin needing to be taken out of power. And here's what he had to say about that.
What you said. Thank you, sir. Do you believe what you said, that Putin can't remain in power? Or do you now regret saying that because your government has been trying to walk that back? Did your words complicate matters?
Well, you asked three different questions. I'll answer them all. Number one, I'm not walking anything back.
No.
The fact of the matter is I was expressing the moral outrage I felt toward the way Putin is dealing in the actions of this man. Just brutality of it. Half the children in Ukraine. I just come from being with those families. And so, but I want to make it clear, I wasn't then, nor am I now, articulating a policy change. I was expressing the moral outrage that I feel, and I make no apologies for it.
Personal feelings, sir. Your personal feelings?
My personal feelings.
And his personal feeling is that he can't remain in power. So what does that mean? How does that translate into action? Or does it? Or do you just say stuff now that's pissing you off?
Does he realize?
That's great.
He may not realize he's the president.
You're the president of the United States. Are you aware of that? Leader of the free world? Yeah. What you say kind of matters. Words matter. Your statements matter. If you just want to express personal outrage, resign the office.
Yes.
Take your hideous vice president with you.
Yes.
And the freaking Speaker of the House and all of you get out of there. Right. Beat it. And then you can go say anything you want as a private citizen. But when you're the president of the United States, you have to measure things. You have to be a bit restrained.
Yeah, but take the Senate pro tem also. That's Patrick Leahy.
Okay, yes.
And then,
jeez.
And then you want
we're just, 10, 12 deep into this mess.
Take your whole cabinet.
Yeah, your entire cabinet.
Then what happens?
I don't know. Then it's... I think it's one of the nighttime janitors at the Pentagon.
Deal.
Yeah, we'll
Deal.
take him.
I don't care.
Him or her.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
We'll take him.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Better than the other options.
It's like 14th in line is the overnight janitor at the Pentagon. Because he hears a lot of things and he sees a lot of documents. So they know what they're doing.
He probably has all the dirty laundry, of everybody up there at the...
Yeah. Yeah.
You said this is the Pentagon janitor?
Yeah,
or should we go with the...
It's a Pentagon janitor.
Okay. You don't want to go with the Capitol?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's underneath.
He's like 15th or 16th. I forget which.
Okay, so it's Pentagon janitor. Mm-hmm. Then is it the White House overnight steward?
Then it's I think it's the undersecretary to the receptionist.
Undersecretary to the receptionist. Yes.
At the White House.
Then we get to the Capitol Hill.
Yes.
Janitor.
Yes.
Understood.
Just
I'll take any of those people
in front.
Any of those options that you just mentioned.
Over all of the above, you better believe it.
Yes.
Absolutely. So Peter Doocy took a crack at old man Biden too. Here's what he had to say.
Are you worried that other leaders in the world are going to start to doubt that America is back if some of these big things that you say on the world stage keep getting walked back.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's getting walked back?
Made it sound like
Everything you say gets walked back.
It sounded like you told U.S. troops they were going to Ukraine.
Yes.
It sounded like you said it was possible the U.S. would use a chemical weapon, and it sounded like you were calling for regime change in Russia, and we know...
Right.
None of the three occurred.
Oh,
None
my...
of the three occurred.
None of the three.
Right?
God.
Mr. President?
You interpret the language that way. I was talking to the
Oh, my
troops.
gosh.
We're talking about helping train the troops that are the Ukrainian troops that are in Poland.
No.
That's what the context.
That's-
I sat there with
No,
those guys for
that's
a
not
couple
what you
hours.
said.
That's what we talked about.
So when you said you're going to see when you're there, you were not intending to
I was
say US
referring to meeting with and talking with the Ukrainian troops that were in Poland.
And when you said a chemical weapon
What?
use by Russia would trigger a response in kind.
Pause it for a second. That doesn't
It
even
will
make
trigger
sense. What he said was women are standing in front of tanks in Ukraine, and you're going to see that you'll see that when you're there. He wasn't saying you're going to see that when you're here in Poland training with Ukrainian soldiers. That doesn't make any sense. He was talking about something going on in Ukraine, telling the U.S. soldiers they'd see it when they're there. Now, he could have just misspoken, but just say that if that's true. But he can't even admit to that.
Look.
He can't even admit to, I just misspoke. I'm sorry. Even Obama could say he misspoke.
Uh-huh.
This guy can't. He's so perfect in his own mind that he can't admit to even misspeaking.
It's embarrassing.
Oh, my. It's far more than that.
Yeah.
Far more. But Peter Doocy is bold and brave and maybe the gutsiest White House correspondent I've ever seen.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah, I agree completely.
He is following up. He's holding feet to the fire.
Because he knew that Biden was going to push back.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he was ready.
Yeah, he
He
was.
was like, well, you said this.
Right.
Like, I gave you the
Right.
headline. Oh, you want to push back? This is the quote you said, old man.
Right.
Good job.
Great job. All right, let's see the rest of this.
trigger a response in kind.
It will trigger a significant response.
What does that mean?
I'm not going to tell you. Why would I tell you? You got to be silly.
Yeah, that's
The world
fair.
wants to know.
The world wants to know a lot of things. I'm not telling them what the response would be. Then Russia knows the response.
Yeah,
Yes.
that he can't do.
Okay, no, he already did it when he made the original
I know.
quote.
I know.
We're going to respond in kind. That means the same thing that
Yes.
they did to us.
That's true. That is true.
just
But-
madness.
Good job by Peter Doocy. Man, I'll
tell you
say
what.
it again. He turned out to be so much better than I expected from him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just a goofy,
Well,
light reporter.
yeah, they gave him, like I said, the Easter egg roll and all that good stuff.
Yes.
They were just getting
Yes.
him in, making the connections
right
there.
But I didn't see anything that led me to believe, okay, this guy's going to be a powerhouse one day.
Yeah, and then they
But now,
yeah.
he is.
they put him on the campaign trail, and
Yeah.
he
He did a
got
good
used to
job.
asking those questions, and now he asks the tough questions
And
every
now
day
he's
at
in the
White House.
front stinking row.
I love it.
It's great.
I will say, though, that the overnight janitor at the Pentagon would have handled that a lot better. He would
Then
have.
Biden?
Sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
There's
he
no
would have
question about
been
that.
straight up with the American people. Look, I was tired. It was overnight, double shift.
Look, I had just mopped the floor.
Thank you.
You know how big the freaking Pentagon is? There's a lot of flooring at the Pentagon. It's one of the largest buildings in the world. And I had just finished mopping the whole thing.
And then they shoved this
And,
microphone into my face, and I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, Putin needs to go.
So, yeah, I misspoke. Okay? I'm not saying we're going to shoot Putin in the head. That's not what I'm saying.
Now, if you would please allow me to get back to my mopping duties.
I got a mop today. And then I
gotta
have to
vacuum.
clean the windows. And we're doing some vacuuming
Yeah.
on the carpeted flooring.
Speaking
So-
of vacuuming, I would like to point out that this gentleman right here, Pat Gray, who does everything, everything. He's Mr. Everything. He's also Mr. Housekeeping. On his Twitter account, if you want to go to @PatUnleashed on Twitter, you can see him in action pre-show. A lot of hosts will go through the prep, they'll watch the videos, all that stuff. Pat actually was vacuuming here for us, so thank you for that.
But we had actually gone through the prep as well before that. And then there was 10 minutes left, and I thought, let's vacuum the floor.
Vacuum the floor. See? Mr. Housekeeping.
Right. Well, I'm working on getting the gig after the janitor at the Pentagon goes to the presidency, then I'm going to take his kid.
Because right now he's splitting time between the
Right.
Pentagon overnight shift and the presidency, the executive of the nation.
Yeah.
And so
So
there's
when he's
that
full-time,
transition period.
they're going to need somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to show him that I have the skills.
And that's a good stepping
do it.
stone to the presidency, as we've learned. So
Right.
kudos to you, man.
So who knows?
You got a career path.
Who knows who will succeed the current janitor at the Pentagon?
And it's going to be you.
It's going to be
I'm
me.
voting for you.
So Biden also talked about the economy. Now he's got a budget plan. Oh, and as you can imagine, it's fantastic. And listen to all this garbage that he spewed about Donald Trump.
Compared to 2020, we're reducing the size of the deficit relative to our economy by almost 2/3, reducing inflationary pressures, and making real headway cleaning up the fiscal mess I inherited.
Oh, wow.
After my predecessor's fiscal mismanagement, we're reducing the Trump deficits and returning our fiscal house to order. Now, the budget I'm releasing today will continue this approach.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. We just had the largest deficit in the history of the world. Not just the country, in the history of the world. In the trillions of dollars. And now he's trying to blame all of that on Donald Trump? This last year was a catastrophe to the budget. And to the economy, as we're seeing with all of the inflation that's going on right now. But he's claiming this almost $6 trillion budget.
After all of the extra spending he's been doing.
Right.
All these bills. Oh.
Right. We just passed the thing the stopgap bill, which was what, $1.5 trillion?
I forgot what
1.9 trillion.
Like that, yeah.
And now he's proposing another $6 trillion, and he's claiming fiscal responsibility. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And what was Trump's biggest budget?
Wow.
I think it was, I don't know, 4.8 maybe. I don't know. It was for something. And his biggest one, all the.
Now this is 5.8 trillion.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about Trump's.
No, I know.
Yeah.
And this one is $5.8 trillion.
Right.
After we just a month ago passed another 1.5 or 1.9 trillion.
So in essence, he's spending close to $8 trillion.
All of the spending that we've done in the last year on COVID and every other ridiculous project that they could think of. And now he's fiscally responsible. And any budget shortfalls are Trump's fault.
Yeah, and remember, the Trump stuff was the immediate reaction to COVID.
Yes.
That was all those extra expenditures needed for that. And now it's just become a way of life for the Biden administration.
Well, and it was a way of life for him and Obama. They were in office for 8 years and never passed a budget.
That's true.
Not once did they ever pass a budget. Don't tell me you're fiscally responsible. Wow.
Well, how are they going to pay for it, though, Pat? I'm sure they've got a plan for that.
Oh, they do.
Okay, good.
They do.
Well,
the
good.
largest tax increase in the history of the United States of America. So that's good.
I can't stand
We've got
this.
that going for us.
I'm sad.
And I'm sure that's going to completely pay for it, too. You know it will. Because that's how it works with our government. They like to pay for everything and not just go into debt.
Right. They make sure they have the money in place, socked away for a rainy day. Then they propose the budget.
Right.
After they've counted all the money in the federal safe. There's this big safe they keep up in Washington.
Well, that's why we're only $30 trillion in debt. Well, and if you count unfunded liabilities, it's about $130 trillion in debt. But we're only that far in debt because, they make sure we have the money before they spend it.
Yeah. And that's good of them. Do we know the Pentagon's overnight janitor, what his take is on fiscal responsibility?
I don't know, and I don't care because it can't be worse than this guy.
Can't be worse. That's a good point.
Cannot be worse. So Biden unveiled a new minimum tax targeting billionaires as part of his 2023 budget request, proposing a 20% rate that would hit both the income and unrealized capital gains of the wealthiest Americans.
Madness. You could not write that in a book and have people believe it.
Wow. Is that their fair share? Taxing them on money they don't have? Okay.
I mean, think about this.
That's interesting.
This is literally money that they don't have their hands on. The stock market could crash tomorrow.
Yeah, it could be just on paper, and then it goes away. That happens all the time.
And then are they going to say, oh, no, you don't owe us the tax now?
No, absolutely not.
I can't take this bizarre world.
Here's your rebate on the money we took that you didn't have. That's not gonna happen. It's never going to happen. The billionaire minimum income tax would establish a 20% minimum tax on all U.S. households worth more than $100 million, or about 0.01% of Americans.
Yeah, that right there. That's what you'll hear your little friends and your coworkers say. It's 0.01% of the country. Who cares?
So who cares?
Yeah, it's the people that are signing your paycheck. You might want to care.
The White House projected that more than half the revenue generated by the tax would stem from the country's 700 billionaires. If enacted, the tax would reduce the deficit by about $360 billion over the next decade.
And that's if these billionaires are dumb enough to stay here after that.
That's for sure. President Biden is a capitalist and believes that anyone should be able to become a millionaire or billionaire, the White House said in a statement. Really? This is incredible. He also believes that it's wrong for America to have a tax code that results in America's wealthiest households paying a lower tax rate than working families. I'm sorry. That doesn't happen.
Right.
This is agonizing. Just pure Marxism. Plain and simple. That's what it is. And that's why they continually demonize these people. Oh, they're capitalists. Yeah, they're capitalists who demonize everybody who's in this position. So that when they propose these kinds of egregious taxes on them, everybody will say, well, I don't care. They deserve it. Nah, they won't even miss that money. Nah, they don't pay any income tax. This will be a nice change. Of course they could pay that. They won't even miss what they're paying. Those are all the things that rank and file Americans are going to say and going to believe because of the way the rich are demonized. Wow, dangerous, horrific. And I'm not in the richest 0.01%, so I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm just a capitalist, and I don't think that success should be punished. And I don't think the employers of Americans should be punished just because they've been successful. Jeez, we've got to stop with this Marxist propaganda. But they won't. They absolutely won't. All right, let me tell you about Patriot Mobile. This next story is absolutely unbelievable. According to Reuters, T-Mobile is firing anyone who is not fully vaccinated on April 2nd. Man, that's why we're proud to partner with Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative cell phone provider. In fact, they're the only mobile provider that actually still believes in the Constitution. They offer broad nationwide coverage. They use the same towers, of course, as all the major carriers. So you get the same great nationwide coverage, plus the peace of mind that your money is supporting your right to free speech. So you don't have to compromise everything you believe in order to have cell phone coverage. And in order to have great cell phone coverage, you don't have to compromise quality. You can still have it and have somebody who supports your values. Patriot Mobile has a plan to fit any budget, and their 100% U.S.-based customer service support team provides exceptional customer support. And more importantly, they do share your values, and they support organizations fighting for religious freedom and for constitutional rights and sanctity of life. Go to patriotmobile.com/Pat, patriotmobile.com/Pat, or 972-PATRIOT. You'll get free activation when you use the offer code PAT. Veterans and first responders save even more, so make that switch today and support a company that loves America and shares your values. patriotmobile.com/Pat or 972-PATRIOT.
Pat Gray
Unleashed.
So Democrats are losing support, and even some of the Democrats are starting to realize it and admit to it, like AOC just did.
And we do not have much more time to wait because these falling polling numbers, I don't believe in governing by polling, but if that is a concern, which, to be real in elections, it's a real thing. We need to acknowledge that this isn't just about middle of the road, an increasingly narrow band of independent voters. But this is really about the collapse in support among young people, among the Democratic base, feeling like that they worked overtime to get this president elected, and they aren't necessarily being seen.
Wow. So the reason she's willing to admit that is because it's not that she thinks that these policies are wrong-headed. They haven't gone far enough. That's her problem. They haven't gone socialist enough. And so that's why she's willing to step off the reservation and say, hey, we're in trouble here. So you better get more radical than you've already been, more extreme than you already are. Jeez. And when it comes to that disgruntled base on the left, listen to this CNN story. Joe Biden has canceled more student loan debt than any other president. Just kind of notable because you don't hear anything about it.
Wow. So in other words, he has helped people who took out loans they couldn't afford.
Yeah.
And said, look, that company, that school, you don't have to pay them back.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
There's always a third party when something is canceled like this. Okay.
The Biden administration has expanded existing loan forgiveness programs for borrowers who work in the public sector, those who were defrauded by for-profit colleges, and borrowers who are now permanently disabled. Now, who was defrauded by by for-profit colleges? I don't know.
But hold on a second. Okay, so you become disabled. You've been defrauded. What was the first one? A public sector employee?
Yeah, you work in the public sector.
So I don't understand why do they get special?
That's a good question. I don't know. Those moves have delivered significant relief to more than 700,000 borrowers, totaling more than $17 billion.
So $17 billion
has been forgiven, just gone.
Agreed upon.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That you signed an agreement with that you would pay back, right? And so that lending institution, whoever it was, is just out $10,000.
So this is effectively bankruptcy being declared, and then you don't have to pay back.
Basically, without declaring it.
Yeah. So does it ding their credit report? I wonder?
No, it does not.
No, it does not?
No. Some voters feel misled, though, by this president who had supported canceling $10,000 for each of the 43 million federal students who took out loans. And that's what he said on the campaign trail, that he was going to cancel it for 43 million people. Jeez. So that's all federal. I think that's all federal loan debt.
Yeah. And
almost all college debt now is from the federal government.
So whether you were $100,000 in debt, student loans, or $10,000, you're just going to get $10,000.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So Jennifer Lewis, who is a 57-year-old nurse practitioner in Washington State, said he's not delivering on his promise, even though he canceled $10,000 of her debt. But now, here's the thing.
Oh, no, what?
This is sad.
What now?
In fact, you might want to get some Kleenex out.
Wait a minute. So this is going to be sad? He just gave her $10,000?
Yeah, but Keith, she still has about $80,000 left in student debt. And he didn't cancel that.
Oh, no, and she's not happy.
She's not happy.
Because it's never enough.
Not unless he cancels all her debt.
Well,
and why stop at her loan debt?
I was going to say.
What if she has a debt to like Capital One or J.P. Morgan Chase?
And then when all those debts are paid off, you can't just leave me broke.
You know what? I took out a home loan, and I still owe a whole bunch of money on it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I'm going to be paying over the next 20 years. because I took out a 30-year loan, and now I'm all in this debt now to the bank.
But again, you talk about all this debt that Biden should forgive. He should just wave his magic executive wand
and just wipe it away.
You can't leave these people broke with zero money. You've got to give them a income so that they can make
That's
it.
true.
Or else they're going to fall and spiral right back into debt. And then where are you?
That's true. You're canceling debt all over again.
I'm so over this country, man.
So anyway, Jennifer says if he were to run again, I'd think twice about voting for president at all.
Oh, okay.
She described herself as super progressive.
Yeah, that's okay, Cheryl. We've got a hard drive that'll vote for you.
Biden is also facing a drumbeat of pressure from some key Democrat lawmakers who are urging him to do more and cancel $50,000 per borrower.
That's not going to be enough for Cheryl. She's still going to be pissed. She's like, where's that other 30?
It's Jennifer, not Cheryl. How dare you dead name her?
Okay, Jennifer, Cheryl, whatever your name is. God.
This puts Biden in a tough political spot, though, as federal student loan payments are set to resume May 1st after a 2-year pandemic-related pause. Wow, what do you want to bet they pause it again? They renew the pause. So they haven't had to pay anything on their loans for 2 years now. That's not bad. And they got $10,000 canceled. Just bye-bye. And it's just gone. Wow. Now, you took out that loan. I assume you weren't 4 years old when you did it, right? So you were a thinking adult when you took the loan and thought, this is going to be worth it because I'm going to graduate from college and I'm going to have a degree.
Right. Don't be ridiculous. 4-year-olds in America can't take out student loans. They can, however, dictate if they're going to get a sex change operation.
Right, which is as it should be.
But not the loan thing, okay?
Yeah. But their parents shouldn't know about that.
Exactly.
So let's get all that clear.
It's going to get bad. It's at some point, hardworking Americans will be like, yeah, you know what? I'm not paying off my debt either. Why? What's my incentive for playing by the rules?
There isn't any. There's no incentive now.
This is chaos.
Yes.
We're on the eve of
destruction.
Chaos, then destruction. Yes.
We're on the eve of destruction.
I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah. But it had to be done.
Yeah, it did. You're right.
It had to be done.
Yeah, and so,
crazy.
The base, as AOC illustrates there, and that story does as well, not too happy with Biden, and now they're starting to wonder about that border thing with the Haitians that never got addressed fully. Remember that 6 months ago? It's 6 months to the day.
Are these the Haitians that were whipped?
Whoa, yes.
Whipped mercilessly.
That's what happened.
Mercilessly whipped at the border.
I don't even like to say the word.
I know.
It's so painful.
I know. It was so tragic.
Yeah, but he was really passionate 6 months ago, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Given what we saw at the border this week, have you failed in that promise? And this is happening under your watch. Do you take responsibility for the chaos that's unfolding?
Of course I take responsibility. I'm president, but it was horrible what to see, as you saw. To see people treated like they did, horses barely running them over, people being strapped.
Yeah,
it's outrageous. I promise you, those people will pay. They will be, an investigation underway now, and there will be consequences.
Oh, man.
There will be consequences.
Good.
It's an embarrassment. It's beyond an embarrassment.
Beyond.
It's dangerous. It's
dangerous
wrong.
And wrong.
It sends the wrong message around the world. It sends the wrong message
Bad message.
at home.
Mm-hmm. At home.
It's simply not
the world.
who we are.
It's not. It's not who we are. We're not that people that whips Haitian refugees at the border.
What's happened?
Which we're not, actually, and it didn't happen, as you know, if you remember the video.
Is that why there's been no consequences
yet?
Yes.
That's why 6 months later, he had to be outraged for his radical base, but then they kept looking at the video and realizing, there's nothing that happened here.
In fact, if I'm not mistaken,
nothing happened.
There hasn't even been a peep out of the Department of Homeland Security since January on this. Just like...
Well, they're too busy worried about the insurrection, the day democracy almost died.
Mm-hmm.
They got to take care of that. January 6th, which nearly ended this country. So we don't have time for the Haitian whipping thing. But we'll get to it one day if we can find some video where it ever happened.
Pat Gray, the Blaze Radio Network.
Just looking over some of what we know so far about the $5.8 trillion budget proposed by Joe Biden. New taxes, we talked about this a little bit, on the wealthy, and more spending on the military and domestic priorities. I don't have any problem with spending on the military, especially if it raises the salaries of our troops. Lawmakers in both parties signal changes for Biden's budget. With a center-leaning budget,
wow,
Biden has bowed to political reality.
Wait.
Center-leaning.
Who wrote this?
That is asinine.
Stop it.
Let's see. This comes from the New York Times.
Thank you. Okay.
So to them, yeah, I'm sure anything is center-leaning to the New York Times. The tax on billionaires, $45 billion whole government approach to climate change.
Oh, here we go.
That's going to be good. The Build Back Better domestic agenda is relegated to a single line without specifics. That's good because then they can do whatever they want with it.
Let's empower the bureaucracy even more.
Uh-huh. Oh, and I like this. The deficit would fall by $1 trillion over a decade under the proposed budget. Would it? How stupid do you think we are? Of course, Democrats are going to fall for it. We are stupid.
Oh, yes.
We are stupid.
They think we're...
they think
and
we're...
in fairness, a case can be made.
Yes, it absolutely can. Meanwhile, today is the day we just found out.
I just got this
alert. Breaking news.
This is good. This is good, Pat.
This is exciting because we've all been waiting, pins and needles.
Ladies and gentlemen, CNN Plus is here.
Yay!
Yes. This is what the app says.
Yay!
This is the alert. Mm-hmm. Today is the day for a whole new experience from the most trusted name in news.
Oh, isn't it though?
Here's a look at what to expect. Ooh, I'm going to click it.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
What do we expect today on CNN Plus?
My phone is kind of slow here. Let's see here. No thanks. Can you stop asking me? Oh my gosh, the pop-ups. Here's your guide to CNN Plus. Oh, you can go to cnnplus.com. You're welcome for that plug there. Why should I sign up for CNN Plus? Because, Pat, it combines live news coverage, a library of on-demand programming, and interactive interviews.
Wow.
Blah, blah, blah. It only costs $5.99 a month.
So just for a mere $6 a month.
Just $6 a month, you can get more.
You have more CNN
garbage shoved
than you have right now
into your ear holes.
This is CNN.
Thank you.
Most trusted name in news.
If I watched CNN Plus for 1 minute, it would be longer than I've ever watched CNN in the last probably 10 years.
It's going to have Poppy Harlow.
Oh.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, and fresh personalities like...
Fresh personalities.
Chris Wallace, that's a fresh personality.
Chris Wallace.
Okay.
So he really is going to CNN Plus.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because I thought there was some talk about him taking over for Cuomo, Chris Cuomo.
Right.
But
who's Audie Cornish?
No idea.
Now, here's the best. Rex Chapman. Rex Chapman was fun on Twitter, the former NBA guy, because he used to put a lot of animal videos up. And then he got political and more political to the point where it's just nauseating and it was time to unfollow. But Rex Chapman, he made a good moment a couple weeks ago during the NCAA tournament where he praised a coach who is no longer with us. The coach is still alive and well. But that was a good moment for him. So anyway, CNN Plus, starting today.
Wow. Nobody watches CNN, the regular network.
I know.
Why would you want CNN Plus? Who's going to subscribe to that?
I would love to see those numbers.
Oh, me too. I doubt they'll release them because it's going to be embarrassing. I mean, they don't have 1 million viewers on CNN free channel. Why would you pay $6 a month to watch more of what you don't watch?
That's well said.
Thank you.
Now you have to pay to not watch it.
Right.
No.
Why would I do that? Bizarre.
Yeah, it's almost
Bizarre.
like a whole other network there. I mean,
man,
got times around the clock.
Of any useless app that you have to pay for, I can't think of one that would be more useless than that. Seriously. And I sign up for everything. If it weren't for my wife, I would sign up. I would be on every pay app that there is, probably. Every streaming service available, I would pay for, and I would pay the extra so that we don't have any commercials.
Did you know that the name of Chris Wallace's show is Who's talking to Chris Wallace?
No. What a powerful, powerful name that is, though. And creative. So.
Just gut check.
Stop. Meanwhile, CNN was having a discussion recently about January 6th. And then this happened.
But listen, you don't have to look far to find a very similar story that was really ignored
Pause
by
it for
the
a
media,
second.
and in fact,
So they're talking about Ginny Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
Texting, and that shows the right-wing media's influence.
It was a weird segment. The whole thing was
bizarre.
Yeah.
Are they saying that Ginny Thomas was at the...
No, she was texting, I think, with Mark Meadows. Yeah.
And that's it, right? They're not saying she was... they're not alleging she was there.
No. And let's step back. The whole point of bringing Ginny Thomas into this is because her husband is Clarence Thomas.
Right.
And if they can somehow sway public opinion
they're trying to
shame him into resigning or being replaced or whatever.
Right.
That's what this whole thing is about.
Well, he's been a main target of theirs since he was nominated. If you remember the hearings with Anita Hill and all that nonsense. All right, so here's what SE brings up.
really ignored by the media and, in fact, called false over and over and over again, and that's the Hunter Biden laptop story. Hunter Biden is a relative of a very famous person, the way Ginny Thomas is a relative of a very powerful, famous person.
No, you're not allowed to do
and,
this.
My
I'm surprised she's doing
Twitter feed is clogged with blue check reporters who are instantly believing that there is some tie between Ginny and Clarence. And, the rush to dismiss Hunter as not a relevant story by lots of reporters, I think is hard to ignore.
I wonder, Jane, do you have a reaction to that?
Pause it for a sec. Just to...
We're gonna
There's
have to
this
do
long pause.
We're going to have to do the count.
She's not paying attention. She's like...
Well, just like the media.
I didn't hear my name mentioned.
On Hunter... Yeah, this is epic. This pause. We got to count this.
First of all, to quote Jeffy, I'm kind of surprised that Essie is saying this, is bringing this up.
I'm stunned.
Because she has been not exactly conservative since she's been at CNN. She's been CNNized. And so...
In fact, right when this clip started, we can maybe go back after we get through this part. Just look at the beginning of that. I love how Brian kind of looks down on the side like, wait, where's she going with this? Like,
yeah. It's amazing. All right, let's see the rest.
A reaction to that?
3, 4, 5. Jane, you ask me? Sorry, the sound is
Jane?
As an investigative reporter, do you look at the Hunter Biden story and say, there's a lot more to dig into here?
The Hunter Biden story is Hunter Biden is being investigated by the Justice Department and by the IRS, as I understand it at this point. So it seems that there's no shortage of legal interest in Hunter Biden.
Wow,
and
you're knocking that out of the park.
We have not seen that Ginny Thomas has been called by the January 6th committee because there's been such sensitivity about not calling a Supreme Court justice's wife.
I mean, that's happened to all of us in class before.
Yeah, where you're not paying attention to what's going on.
Teacher calls on you. But I don't know that... It was just a perfect metaphor for the media on the Hunter Biden stuff.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. So now that they have admitted that the Hunter Biden computer is the laptop did belong to him. It's not some Russian conspiracy. The KGB didn't come up with it. It was Hunter Biden's laptop. And the stuff in it is real. So now there's a Hunter Biden federal tax investigation that's picking up steam a little bit. Wall Street Journal reports as prosecutors collect information about his foreign income sources and business relationships. Wait, what? Citing sources familiar with the matter, the Wall Street Journal reports that prosecutors from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware have sought information and grand jury testimony in recent weeks about how President Joe Biden's son used the money from his board position with Ukrainian natural gas company Burisma Holdings to pay off some of his obligations. Prosecutors last month questioned at least one other Hunter Biden associate at length about his drug and alcohol use, spending habits, and state of mind in 2018. Doesn't necessarily mean an indictment is imminent, but it is indicative of trying to lock in testimony with an eye towards a potential trial someday.
I believe it when I see it.
How about that?
I mean, this is an interesting update, and
yeah, it is.
And it sounds
Yes,
like
it is.
I would not get excited about this because I know how the federal government works with these investigations, and this will probably turn into absolutely nothing at all.
Yeah, probably.
But it's nice to see them at least
bring it up.
Yeah, at least it's something that they're.
At least they acknowledged it exists on CNN.
Right.
Now, in October 2020, New York Post reported on the contents of Hunter's laptop that he abandoned at a Delaware repair shop, you might remember.
Remember that? And Twitter said, no, New York Post, take down that story or they locked their account. This is the eve of the election.
Yes. Because it was a Russian conspiracy, Keith. Well, okay, it wasn't, but, we didn't really want to look into it at the time.
They had quotes from the computer shop owner.
Incredible. And so they had to destroy that guy's life. They had to disparage him and make him look like some kind of criminal so that they could dissuade anybody from looking into Hunter Biden himself. It's really pathetic what has happened here. The laptop's hard drive contained emails, text messages, of course, photos, financial documents connecting Hunter Biden, his family, which is important, and business associates.
Yeah, the big guy.
And detailed how the president's son used his political leverage in his overseas business dealings. Just like everybody said. Well, who believed the laptop was real? New York Times reports that Hunter Biden told associates in recent months that he paid his federal tax debt off, allegedly telling one associate that the tax burden was more than $1 million and that he had to take out a loan to pay it off.
Wait, how much was he making every month?
$50,000 a month.
And he had to take out a loan to pay his taxes? You're dumb. You are dumb, Hunter. In so many, many ways.
I mean, at least it's being looked into a little bit. And I think you're right. Nothing's going to come of it. But it's interesting that at least they have to admit that something's going on here. And I love the fact that the New York Times has been caught with their pants down.
So
proclaiming that, it was some Russian conspiracy. It wasn't real. It was a hoax. And now they've had to admit.
Let me throw
it's actually his laptop.
A scenario out for you, and you tell me what you think of this possibility. I don't think this investigation is going to go anywhere. I'm old enough, and I've been around long enough to know that there's power in the D, right? They're going to deflect because they're Democrats, and nothing's going to come of it. However, let's say there's enough. I personally believe, to quote Miss Teen South Carolina, that if you wanted to find a way to get to Joe Biden, it's through this laptop. It's through Hunter Biden and his business connections.
Yep.
So let's say the Democrat plan all along, which is what I've subscribed to since day one, is to make sure Joe Biden's in office long enough to get us to January 21st, 2023, and then you can have 10 years of Kamala. So if they want to use this to put the screws to Joe to say, look, this isn't going to end well for you. Why don't you step aside? You could say, spend more time with your family at the end of your life, whatever you want to do. However, the monkey wrench in this whole thing is that Kamala sucks, and they're going to lose with her if she's president in 2024 running for office on her own accord. So it's a mess for the Democrats. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out. But,
Yeah.
Hunter Biden is not a good guy.
No.
I think that's the bottom line.
And frankly, neither is Joe.
Oh, no. Oh, the big guy?
Yeah.
And what he's done to Ukraine itself?
Guy. You look back at some of the things that have been said by people like Lindsey Graham, and it's like, what are you talking about? Where he's one of the best people to ever live or something was kind of his quote. Or certainly one of the best people on the planet at the time. Where do they get that? This guy is corrupt to the bone.
Absolutely. I mean, he put the screws to the Ukrainian prosecutor.
Right.
I mean, that's
forced the change
right
to a new prosecutor.
You
got
want
him
this
fired.
$1 billion from us?
Yeah.
From Obama? Because I can call him right now.
Right.
I can call him and we can get rid of that. I'm leaving in 6 hours, so either you get rid of this guy or you're not getting the money from us.
Talk about quid pro quo.
So much here. So much that is never going to amount to anything. In my opinion. Because, like I said,
it's not going
because
to.
I'm old enough and I've seen enough to know that this stuff never works out the way it should.
Well,
there is no justice in this world.
There's power in the D. If this was a Republican administration, something would come of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He would have already been forced out of office.
Because at the very least, you're going to have the press pushing this narrative every single day. So even if there isn't anything and it's a Republican, like you say, you're going to have this constant drumbeat. Whereas it took them a year and a half to just admit that they had actual evidence against a Democrat. Madness.
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, the White House can't get their story straight again. Biden said yesterday that he didn't see any of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation hearings. Saw none of it. I didn't get a chance to see any of it, he told reporters when it asked if he watched the hearings. Well, the problem is that the White House said, yeah, he watched parts of it. Now, that might not seem like a big deal. It's just that they can't get their story straight. They have to lie about everything.
Everything.
Even this. Why would you lie about that? Either you've seen it or you haven't. Which is it? And why can't you get the story straight on whether the president watched some of the trial, or the hearing, I mean, or he didn't? Which is it? Get the story. But somebody's always lying, so they can't keep their story straight. And that's why they can't keep their story straight, because they just lie about this stuff. I'm sure he said he didn't watch any of it because he didn't want to answer any questions about it. If he would have said, yeah, I've been watching, I've been following, I saw some clips, I saw some quotes, then he would have been asked a follow-up question about the hearing. And he didn't want to. Unbelievable. But it just continues. Lies and deception every single day.
I give you my word as a Bible.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Got some tweets here from Stinky Biscuit. Of course, Hunter didn't have that cool $1 million. Inflation hit hookers and blow, too. Did it? Oh, I didn't realize that. That's
Didn't you, though?
No, I didn't realize.
Yeah, I did.
I thought hookers and blow might be exempt, but I guess not.
No, Jeffy's been telling us about this. Well, never mind.
Okay. Also from somebody.
I'm a licking butter? Is that one?
No. Jitty Bird?
Oh. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just Jitty emails or something.
Yeah, something. Jitty Bay?
Jitty Bay Tree Pack.
Jitty Bay Tree
You know
Pack.
that I'm true. It's true, ladies. You know,
Okay,
it's
right.
true, yeah.
Why would Republicans like Lindsey stand up for Joe? Because they're, at a minimum, equally corrupt. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if... Yeah.
And I'm a lickin' butter tweets. As I said before, Kamala will be forced out somehow. Hillary will be nominated and confirmed as VP because Romney, Murkowski, Collins, then and only then.
Stop.
They will 25th Biden.
Stop.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll do that to him. I really.
They might do that to him, but don't give me this Hillary Clinton plan.
That would be bad.
Oh,
that'd be bad.
God,
I mean, Kamala. Who would be worse, Kamala or Hillary?
I don't want to answer that question.
I don't know.
I just don't want to have to say Hillary Clinton's name as being relevant ever again.
I know.
Oh, my gosh. My entire life, this woman has been in politics or in the public conscience.
Yeah, pretty much.
No.
Pretty much. The Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences issued a second statement about the slapping incident, from Sunday night with Will Smith. Of course, everybody's been talking about it, watching it over and over and over again. Will Smith got up and slapped Chris Rock when he made a joke about his wife. And initially, the Academy did issue a statement. They said the Academy does not condone violence in any form. Tonight, we're delighted to celebrate our 94th Academy Awards winners who deserve this moment of recognition from their peers and movie lovers around the world. So that was all they said about it initially. The Academy does not condone violence of any kind. But, of course, the Twitter mob went crazy, and that was not enough. So, what does the Academy do? They, of course, cave to Twitter. The Academy condemns the actions of Mr. Smith at last night's show. We have officially started a formal review around the incident and will explore further action and consequences in accordance with our bylaws, standards of conduct, and California law. I think, are they going to try to take away his his Academy Award now?
They're at least floating that idea out there, but Chris Rock has refused to press charges.
Yeah, right.
So there's that.
And I think, was it Whoopi that said, we're not going to take the Oscar from him? She said there will be consequences, I'm sure, but they're not going to take the Oscar. Be interesting if that's what they do. I don't know. That seems a little extreme.
Yeah, well, I mean, Will Smith did apologize publicly yesterday to, well, Chris Rock, among others.
Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive, he wrote. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. True. Jokes at my expense are a part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally.
After he thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out.
I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I'm embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness.
That's been a theme twice already. You've mentioned in this apology that there's no place for violence. The Academy said there's no place for violence. My gosh, half of the movies Hollywood churn out
are violent.
And nothing but violence. Stop.
More than half, probably.
Yeah.
I would also like to apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, all the attendees, and everyone watching around the world. I would like to apologize to the Williams family. Yeah, because he kind of tainted the whole thing.
Yeah.
For them, which is really too bad. And my King Richard family. I deeply regret that my behavior has stained what has been an otherwise gorgeous journey for all of us. I am a work in progress. Sincerely, Will. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. That's
that is
beautiful.
Something, right?
Thank you. That's great.
I thought Tim Young on Twitter said it best. Jussie Smollett was convicted of a hate crime and sentenced. Will Smith assaulted a man on live TV. Alec Baldwin shot and killed someone. And they're all comfortably at home, yet Hollywood will continue to lecture us on privilege. Ta-da!
Wow, isn't that the truth?
Well said, Tim.
That's great. Who said that?
Tim Young. He's a national radio host. He lives right here in the DFW area.
Good job,
Tim. He comes up to the Blaze.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Like it. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we're all subject to the Twitter mob, and it really is they who, plain and simply, they're in charge of the country now. These psychos on Twitter are just flat in charge, and they can overturn what the Academy does, what Will Smith does, what Chris Rock does, whether or not he keeps his award or not. I bet it's the Twitter mob that decides all that. You know, over the past 10 to 15 years, a Twitterocracy has developed and taken over in this country. Whatever the mob on Twitter demands becomes law, either written or unwritten, but law nonetheless. I mean, we thought oligarchies were bad. We know that democracies don't work. We know that socialism and communism lead to oppression and mass death. But our Twitterocracy is destroying everything in its path. It has already silenced the vast majority of Americans, and it amplifies the tiny little minority until the tiny little minority becomes a deafening roar, and you think that they're all-encompassing. The Twitterocracy has changed our language. It has circumvented science. It has crushed our recognition of gender as an eternal truth. It's perverted our values and morals. It's altered the very building block of civilization, the family. And it's taking over our corporations. I mean, everybody capitulates to Twitter and the mob. It only takes a few tweets. And everybody's like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, I'm going to change completely. You know, you look at Disney, they were going to leave this Florida bill alone completely. They weren't going to comment on it. They just wanted to leave it alone. Nope. The Twitter mob. The Twitter mob was all over them. So they had to. They had to comment on it. And it's like that with almost everything we see in life now. Anything that happens, if a bunch of people on Twitter start bitching about it, that changes. We're gonna cave into it. And I think it's what's led to this ESG situation with corporations, because they don't want to be criticized for anything. They don't ever want the Twitter mob to get on them and start a boycott of some kind. And so they capitulate to the ESG rating. Yeah, we're going to do that too. Everybody does it. So you'd better comply. Yesterday, Governor Ron DeSantis signed the bill empowering parents to handle sex ed for their kids. For their kindergartners, for their first, second, and third graders. So kids 9 and under. And Disney responded with this. Florida's HB 1557, also known as the Don't Say Gay bill. Who named it that? The Twitter mob. Should never have passed and should never have been signed into law. Our goal as a company is for this law to be repealed by the legislature or struck down in the courts. And we remain committed to supporting the national and state organizations working to achieve that. We are dedicated to standing up for the rights and safety of LGBTQ plus members of the Disney family, as well as the LGBTQ plus community in Florida and across the country.
Good stuff. Way to take a stand.
Okay, so they're fighting for the LGBTQ plus community to, I guess, continue to teach their brand of sex ed to kindergartners.
Yes, and trying to disempower families.
But then a woman at Disney World wears a revealing top, and they're all up in arms over, you are affecting the children. So they direct this woman to a Disney shop and get her a T-shirt to wear over her top so that she's not exposed and children are not exposed to that horrible scene of her cleavage, I guess. But yeah, the Florida bill is great. Oh, you're going to teach kids about homosexuality and transgender lifestyles and whether or not they might be a girl in a boy's body or vice versa? I mean, Disney is... that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's no longer
asinine.
Walt Disney World. It's
that's
woke
for sure.
Disney World.
Yeah.
And thank you for that graphic there, Rob. Look at that, huh? Woke Disney Company.
The woke Disney Company.
There it is, the woke Disney Company.
That's really good.
Yep, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. And they are now just
tired of it.
Radical arm of the Democrat Party, quite frankly.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Disney.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because, again, Bob Chapek was going to leave this alone. But his employees and Twitter demanded that he make this stand, and so they did. Yeah, because that's who rules the country now. I can't take it. It's just unbelievable. Meanwhile, Alaska Airlines posted this on social media yesterday. Flight attendants showing us their pronouns. Oh, good. Oh, good. So are they going to wear these little buttons?
Yeah, these little buttons,
on their uniforms when they're in flight?
And as you're looking at that image there, those individuals identify as, let's see, she, her, he, him. Oh, look at there, Pat. What do we got on
the... Is it a they, them?
It's a token they, them on the far right.
It's a they, them.
All right, yes. We found one.
Woohoo. And changing our language. Calling people they when they're singular. Don't worry about that. That's fine. That's great. That's okay. Everything's good.
Ridiculous.
Just let them do it. It's fine. Look the other way.
I'm trying to find, and I forgot to print this up, but Rob, you have that graphic, I think, in there that fits along perfectly here. The minority groups versus majority groups. Do you have that, Rob? Yeah, this is tough to see, Pat. So,
yeah.
Yeah, but what this shows here is that, where's the trans number? Do you see that on there, Rob? what percentage of Americans are actually trans compared to what people assume in polling? Okay, bisexual. So 4% are bisexual, but average Americans, Pat, think 29% are bisexual.
Of course.
What was the other number, Rob? You just said 1%. Oh, 1% are transgender. 21% in polling Americans believe are transgender. And this just goes on and on and on. We'll have to post this because this is amazing. You talked about the people, the tax thing for Biden.
Yeah.
Have a household income over $1 million. It's really right at 0%. But Americans believe 20% of us make
are
over
millionaires?
Millionaires, yeah.
People are so stupid.
Yeah, so I will post this out here on Twitter. You got to see this graph. Between reality and what perception is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty amazing. All right, let me tell you about Keeps. Keeps has you covered. If you're having a hard time with, bald spots and whatnot.
Nobody you know, though.
No. Right. Except for me.
What?
And you.
Yeah, well.
Everybody.
Do something about that.
This building, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's a fact of life.
Keeps worked for me, and they haven't paid me a penny, nor provided any product for me to say this.
No, you actually paid for your own Keeps
I started
products.
in March, and by July, that had been...
The patch started growing back.
Closed up. How's that?
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Keeps is they offer doctor-recommended, clinically proven, research-backed treatments to stop hair loss and improve hair growth. Their physicians will help you select the right products and treatments for your specific hair and your goals. And all Keeps treatment plans are delivered straight to your door at about half the cost of what you'd pay at a traditional pharmacy. Your plan comes with a full year of unlimited messaging so you can connect with your doctor about anything, anytime. With Keeps, you get quality expert care without visiting a doctor or a pharmacy. Whether you're looking to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or just take better care of the hair you have, Keeps has you covered. Hair loss stops with Keeps. To get 50% off your first order, go to keeps.com/Pat. KEEPS, keeps.com/Pat.
Pat Gray.
Some tweets here. David Cullop tweets, "Can I wear a button on a flight that says first class, even though my ticket says coach?" Should work. It's my truth.
Wow, yeah. I mean, based on Alaskan Airlines,
yeah,
and what they're doing, making sure all the flight attendants are showing their pronouns.
Squatching Duck regarding the Alaskan airline flight attendant. Keith, can you honestly say we found one when they're a they, them?
That's okay. Fair point. Yeah. I said we found one. Well, obviously we found multiples if they're a they, them.
This is interesting. This comes from Bruce Jenner's uterus.
Okay. Tweeting out. Interesting.
Yeah.
You can get a keyboard up in there.
So, there was always a woman inside him, so I guess that's appropriate.
There you go.
Every one of us should call Ron DeSantis' office. Tell him to drop Disney's tax credits. Oh, I like that.
Uh-huh.
His number is 850.
Yeah, this is public. Yeah.
717-9337.
850-717-9337. And if nothing else, just call and say thank you.
Yeah, that would be nice too. Because here's a guy who has stuck to his guns against all odds, against the Twitter mob, against the Twitterocracy. And he has continued to just plow forward with what's right.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't dissuaded by the major corporation in Florida, the biggest employer in Florida, opposing him on this bill. He didn't care. He went forward. And he took them on.
I love it. And while you're on the phone with his staff, be sure to ask him to run for president in 2024, as long as you have someone on the phone there. And just alone, their move of a lot of their employees from California to Florida a couple years ago, that netted them a tax break in those jobs moving $580 million in Florida. So basically, the money they would save just moving from California to Florida. But that's not to say all the other stuff that they had already in place just in the state of Florida itself. So I would love to see what that grand total is. How much in tax breaks does Disney get every year in Florida?
Yeah, I'd like to know.
I'd
like to know.
That's the one thing Republicans don't do well, is they don't flex the muscles that they have.
Which they should.
Which they absolutely should.
Because Democrats certainly do.
Start threatening these companies. My gosh, I mean, they move out of your state. Ask the state of Georgia how they feel after the voting thing there. Took baseball, Hollywood moved all their production out of there, and that was a big place for them.
Right.
Okay, well, then start being preemptive then. Instead of waiting for these companies. See, Disney's too big there in Florida. I mean, that amusement park and all that campus and everything, good luck moving and threatening the state of Florida. Right. Instead, when they start acting out like this, threaten them with the stuff that you've got on them.
On the other side of the country, Idaho Governor Brad Little has just signed Senate Bill 1309 and Senate Bill 1358, bills allowing civil lawsuits to be filed against medical professionals who perform abortions after fetal cardiac activity is detected. So you can sue them for performing an abortion after 6 weeks, which is typically when the heartbeat begins. Wow, that's a strong pro-life bill. Now, Idaho is going to face the wrath of the Twitter mob, our Twitterocracy. And the NCAA will probably not do any championships in Idaho as a result. Just like they didn't do in Georgia with the voting thing. And so Idaho probably won't host the Super Bowl now. I'll bet you there'll be a boycott of Idaho's hosting of the Super Bowl. And Pocatello, Idaho was in line for that too.
Pocatello?
Well, that's what I call Pocatello.
Well, that's cute.
From time to time. Yeah, because there's potatoes in Idaho.
That's good.
And they grow a lot of potatoes.
Were they in the rotation for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, they were supposed to host it in 2025. And now I'm guessing...
I mean, were they going to do some upgrades to the stadium there?
Yeah. Well, the stadium, I believe it's Idaho State. The Bengals Stadium is it must hold 23,000.
12,000.
Must hold 12,000.
They're going to need to do some...
12,000?
They're going to need to do some...
I mean, there are high school stadiums. Almost all high school stadiums in Texas hold more than that.
Yeah, but those stadiums aren't indoors.
Well, that's true.
See, you've got
that's true. It's a dome.
Quiet comfort of an indoor stadium. 12,000 fans are going to crowd in there for which Super Bowl is this going to be?
It was 2025 Super Bowl.
Okay, so they got some time to do some upgrades to maybe expand out the roof a little bit.
Yeah, except I think there's going to be a boycott now because
that's too bad.
Abortion.
So
law.
they got to put these plans on hold for expanding the old Holt Arena.
See, Idaho can get away with this. Georgia can't. Texas can't.
Right.
The places where things, large events happen, they get boycotted.
Well, I mean, Texas went ahead and did it too, and
yeah, it did.
So
and actually, it turned out okay. Have we had anything canceled here?
I haven't.
I don't think so. I haven't either.
Yeah.
So maybe people are starting to stand up.
You're going to run out of places to
hold things.
Take your ball and
Yeah.
Run away. Go home.
Every event in the world is going to have to be held in California pretty soon.
Shocker. I've looked ahead here, and I'm not seeing on the docket for the next through 2026.
Wait, you're not?
I'm not seeing any regionals for the NCAA tournament in Boise. It's happened before.
Yeah.
But I'm just not seeing that. But they'll figure something to take.
What about the Super Bowl? It's still in Pocatello, right?
In the Super Bowl. Oh my gosh, future Super Bowl sites. Let me just see if it's on there. I mean, because I don't want to poo-poo what you're saying here without having done my due diligence here. Yeah. Let's see here. So you've got.
You got
2023
what, Miami.
Oh, gosh, pop-ups. I'm dying here. 2023 is going to be in Arizona. So Phoenix has got that one. Okay. Then Las Vegas is going to get it in 2024.
Vegas. That's good. And then Pocatello,
2025 is New Orleans.
Oh.
And that's where it stops.
Weird. Well, they must have already banned the Pocatello Super Bowl because of the abortion law.
We've said about being
they've already
preemptive.
switched it to New Orleans.
See, that's what it was.
Bastards.
That's what it was.
Bastards.
That's what it was. It was going to be Pocatello, and now it's New Orleans. And that's gonna really entrench that rivalry that Pocatello and New Orleans have.
Right.
They already had it. They're already at each other's throats.
That's right.
And now they stole the Super Bowl from them. And it's only going to get even more serious.
Yes. Yeah, there's going to be more animosity between those two cities. Calm down, people. Yeah. Okay, calm down. There doesn't need to be the rivalry between New Orleans and Pocatello. It can be nice brotherhood.
Right.
Let's all just get along, can't we?
And when you hear about the Pocatello-New Orleans rivalry, I believe the word that always comes up is storied.
Storied,
It's a storied rivalry.
Right.
Between the two locales.
Exactly right. Heated. Storied.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of adjectives there. 888-900-3393. More Pat Gray Unleashed coming up.
What number do people call to get on the air? I mean, do we have that number?
Why, yes, there is a phone number you can call. 888-900-3393. It's Pat Gray Unleashed on the Blaze.
That's interesting.
It is. It's fascinating. It's fascinating, Mr. Spock. We got some tweets here from Hippie Patriot. It's probably because I'm old, but didn't at one time, if you identified as they or them, you were diagnosed with a mental disorder? Yeah, but come on. That's like ancient times. It's like the Renaissance period of 2015.
Yeah.
I mean, join us.
Thank you.
Would you please?
Thank you.
In this century, if you would. An expatriate down under tweets, I miss the good old days of Biden when the most embarrassing thing he did was an old man fart in front of the British royal family. All right. Yeah, good times.
You don't get those
are
things.
good times.
Oh,
yeah, nice.
That's audio
nice,
from the actual encounter.
That's the actual audio from it. Yeah. Extracted right from Buckingham Palace.
Oh, no.
Also, we get this from David. I love this show so much. How you laugh at everything going on in the world. It calms my anxiety. Yeah, that's what we strive to do, actually. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Then straight to Glenn and how we're all going to die at any moment. Right back to heart attacks.
Yeah.
Doorstep.
Uh-huh.
Yep, that's the way it goes.
Sounds about right.
That's about right. Yep, indeed. Hey, the Utah legislature just overrode the veto of the trans ban on women's sports. So the legislature passed a bill banning trans women from competing against actual women. And then the Utah governor vetoed that bill. The Utah legislature overrode the veto. So it went into law anyway. So the Utah Jazz released a statement opposing the transgender youth ban in girls' sports. Republican state legislators found enough votes Friday to override the veto of Governor Spencer Cox, making the transgender ban law. The bill initially fell short of the 2/3 requirement to override the veto before backers flipped 10 previous Republican no votes in the House and 5 in the Senate in favor of the legislation. Utah joins 11 other states in passing similar bills on transgender participation in youth sports. I mean, if there's enough transgender people, let's come up with a competition that they can compete in.
Right. If
start transgender sports.
If that is a lifestyle as big as you say,
right,
then go ahead and start your own leagues.
Exactly. I mean, homeschoolers have this issue. There's nowhere you can go in most states for homeschoolers. They can't participate in sports, even though, especially in Texas, this is the case. Because I tried like heck to find a way where our kids could compete in high school sports, and they couldn't because we homeschooled. And I'm like, well, I'm paying for those sports. I pay property taxes.
And I want a rebate.
Yeah.
I want a rebate of all the money that comes from my property tax.
No,
goes to
we
the
don't
school.
No, I'm sorry. We don't do that. Well, then I should be able to compete.
Yeah.
I should be able to send my kids
No
to
strings
the
attached.
extracurricular activities.
Yeah, because that's what the TMobile bill is they wanted to have you, sure, you can play, but then you're going to have to submit to our state standards for education. No.
Right.
So it's just a
And nobody
Trojan
cared
horse.
about that.
Trojan
Nobody cared. Does anybody care about homeschoolers who had to start their own sports in order to compete? Well, now, why can't transgender people do the same thing?
By the way, I don't care for that story where you said that they had to flip Republican votes. Shame on them. They should have had to flip at all. They should have been on the right side to begin with.
Exactly. But Cox split from his state's party line with his veto, citing suicide rates. That's why he vetoed it. suicide rates among transgender youth. He said, I don't understand what they're going through or why they feel the way they do, in reference to transgender youth athletes. But I want them to live. Well, yeah, of course. Everybody does.
Who doesn't want them to live?
Nobody said we don't want them to live.
Oh, gosh.
And all the research shows that even a little acceptance and connection can reduce suicidality significantly. Yeah.
That's not a word.
That's not the issue. And is suicidality a word? Look that up and see if it is.
Suicide.
I'm not going to continue until we find out if suicidality is a word, because I've never heard it before.
Well,
it is a word?
Well, I mean, it looks like the American Psychological Association defines suicidality as, quote, the risk of suicide. Okay, yeah. But I want to see, I'm not seeing that word show up in any kind of online dictionary. It's in one place, and not a word.
The Jazz released a statement opposing the legislation. The Utah Jazz opposed discriminatory legislation. Yeah, so do I.
I mean, that's pretty simple, right?
Yeah, I do too. We're committed to our values of inclusivity, mutual respect, and fair play. Beyond basketball, we hope for an equitable solution that shows love and compassion for all our youth. Well, they mean all our youth except the biological girls who are adversely affected by the trans people competing against them. Apparently, we don't care about showing love and compassion to them. Don't worry about them. So we'd like to continue the unfair advantages for the trans women, right? Is that what we're saying here? They should be able to compete with their skeletal structure being different, their muscular structure being different, stronger, faster, more testosterone. That's all okay. Don't worry about that. Just let the girls, they can take second or third, depending on how many trans women there are. Fourth, whatever.
Oh, this world.
It's unbelievable. When did we start discounting the sensibilities of girls and women?
Yeah. I can't believe we even have to discuss this stuff.
I can't either.
Aliens, please.
Yeah, send help.
Mm-hmm.
Send help.
Just get here now. Right now. No more delay. We know you're out there just sitting watching us. So stop toying with us. Stop with the,
Haven't you seen enough by now?
Yes.
You need to intervene.
Please.
Seriously.
I'm not joking. Aliens, I'm being real here. Let's go. What is the holdup already? I can't take it. Oh.
A couple is suing a fertility clinic after receiving a male embryo instead of the female one they were promised. So they wanted a girl, they got a boy.
Oh, boy.
After Heather Wilhelm Rautenberg found out she was having a boy at 15 weeks pregnant, she and her wife, Robin Rautenberg Wilhelm, were surprised. And that's what happens sometimes with pregnancy. You get surprised.
Surprise.
The CNY Fertility Clinic in Latham, New York, told the couple that the lab could determine the embryo's sex using Robbie's egg and the donor's sperm before it was transferred to Heather. Apparently, they were wrong.
Oh, no.
Apparently, you can't predict that.
Yikes.
I don't know how you would. How would you? With an embryo and a sperm, how do you say, yep, that's gonna be a girl?
Because the boy's sperm is blue and the girl's sperm is pink.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
And the trans sperm is yellow.
All right.
I think that's how that.
So you could have a trans person?
Right. Obviously,
yeah.
What was the perception earlier? 20% of us are trans. So, I mean, there's some yellow sperm in there.
Heather reportedly wanted a girl because she was traumatized by being sexually assaulted twice after college. Oof. That's awful. With the assistance of Eric Rubel of Warshaw Bernstein, Heather and Robbie are suing CNY on 11 counts, which include breach of contract, medical malpractice, and battery. Battery? Yeah, because Heather said she'd never have an abortion. To her credit.
Thank you.
She said she wouldn't have
God
an
bless
abortion.
him. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I do too.
Because that could be a
awesome.
whole nother disturbing element to this story.
Right, it's not. She's going to have the baby anyway.
Thank God.
But she says, I remember lying in my bedroom thinking, this can't be happening. Not only was the baby in my body not ours, but the baby in my body was male. and he was put there against my will, just like rape.
Ooh. Oh, my gosh. Oh,
no,
you see
honey,
a quote
no.
like that, and you think of that little boy growing up and doing a little Google search and finding that quote about him.
Pretty awful.
From his mom.
Pretty awful.
Oh, God.
Also, talk about diminishing actual rape. This has to stop. Comparing everything to some really catastrophic event, it should really stop. Jeez.
And who knows, maybe that little boy will grow up to change the world.
Maybe.
So thank you for protecting that life. And
that does kind of
how about this?
Salve the wound a little bit.
How about the doctors that botched this insemination thing here? Why don't they it was like a buy one get one free. We'll throw in a boy baby later. Maybe they'll do that for him.
Yeah, they're owed a boy now.
Right, you owe me a boy.
Yeah, maybe that'll come out in the lawsuit.
I mean, a girl. Wait, you owe me a girl.
Yeah.
I screwed that up. Look at
you
that.
did.
Oh my gosh, what if they end up with 2 boys? Then they're going to be angry.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff in their house will be broken. I'll tell you that. 2 little boys running around.
Plus, those boys are going to have some serious wounds based on what their moms said about them.
Can you imagine?
This kid, it felt like rape because the kid's inside me. Oh.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
So happy Mother's Day.
Great.
Here's your card. God, it's going to be awkward going forward when he starts reading about this.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Alex Stein, who's up here at the Blaze studios on a regular basis, showed up again last night at the Plano City Council. This is kind of fun. He showed up as well, you'll see.
Yeah, let's see.
But you guys are going to sit here and you're not going to take me seriously. You're going to laugh at me. I'm trying to compete.
He's in a swimsuit, a woman's swimsuit.
So what? Guys, this is 2022. It doesn't matter what you were born. We have Ketanji Brown Jackson even says she doesn't even know what a woman is. So then I'm a woman. So that's what you guys have to do. If the Supreme Court justice is on my side, then why can't I get the same from the Plano City Council? That's the problem. Is I come here and I'm still a victim of transphobia. Yet we have champions like my girl Leah, my sister, and she gets to win, but I don't. Why not? That's what I'm asking you. Why not? Why can't I swim against the ladies? Why are we having a transphobic world where I just want to compete against the ladies? Why are you saying that I'm not a biological woman? Clearly, I look like a biological woman. I mean, come on. It's been hours tucking this thing in. Give me a break. I should be able to swim. And I'm on so much hormone therapy, I don't even know left or right anymore. So I'm doing this. I don't have an unfair advantage. No way. So I need you guys to stand up. We have a city issue, Rick, and we can actually fix this and let me compete against the ladies. I'm sick of these women. Oh, you're having an unfair advantage. Yeah, right. And I'm mentally ill, and they won't even let me compete in the Special Olympics. So go figure. Think about that. I can't compete in the Special Olympics, and I can't compete against women. What kind of bigotry is that? Are you guys going to let that stand? I wouldn't let that stand. If I were y'all, I would stand up for me, because in the future, they're going to write these in the history books, and they're going to have to decide what side Plano is on. Were they transphobes or were they transpositive? And obviously, I'm transpositive. So that's what I want. I want you guys to wake up to what's going on in the world and tell the City of Plano Swim League to let me compete against the ladies. I've been on hormone blockers for nearly 2 weeks now. And like I said, I'm so messed up from them, I'm probably going to lose anyway. But I can send that tape to a college and I might get a scholarship, Julie. So don't look at me with your eyes, looking at me all mean. I'm out here trying to change for you. This is women's rights. I'm standing up for women's rights. Thank you. It's Primetime Stein on Instagram if you guys want to learn how to swim against the ladies. Thank y'all so much.
Watch this. This is awesome. Oh.
What happened?
It's just his.
What did he do?
Just seeing him walk in that women's swimsuit was just hysterical.
So great.
I love it. Yeah. So he's I reached out to him and he did a rap recently, and we didn't play it on this show, but he did a rap. And in the middle of the rap, he grabs the hand sanitizer and starts rapping about that. And I'm like, did you know the hand sanitizer was going to be there? Did you write that into the rap? He says, all this stuff is just free form. There's not scripted. It's just.
He's really good at it.
I love it.
He's really good at it.
Good guy.
That's great. Plus, again, you talk about Peter Ducey being courageous. I mean, that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Standing in front of the Plano City Council and making that case is hard.
Yeah, and he does that down in Dallas as well. He takes advantage of these. It's almost like open mic night. You get 2 minutes, You're a member of the public and do whatever you want. It's
Yeah.
the first time I've seen him in a nice little costume
swimsuit.
there.
Yeah, one-piece swimsuit. That was good. It looked good. Music legend Phil Collins held his last concert ever because of his ongoing health issues. Collins was joined by Genesis bandmates Mike Rutherford and Tony Banks. Gosh, these guys, are music legends. Mike Rutherford, of course, Mike and the Mechanics back in the 80s. Remember those? The Living Years and other great songs that they were responsible for. Phil Collins and all of his solo stuff, plus his work with Genesis. Man. Anyway, they did their last show ever at London's O2 Saturday evening. Collins is 71 now. He performed the show sitting down, quipped to the crowd that he'll now need to find a real job. Yeah, he hasn't made enough money. He's probably going to have to be a Walmart greeter or something at 71.
That's what you do at 71.
Yeah. The band reunited for the Last Domino tour this year after postponing it due to the coronavirus. The tour came after a 14-year live performance hiatus.
Wow.
So he and Genesis haven't toured for 14 years. I would have thought it was longer than that.
Yeah.
Because he did his solo thing for so long. All through the 80s and 90s he was solo. Yeah. Collins has suffered from numerous health issues recently, including dislocating vertebrae in his neck. Yeah, I did that too. In 2007, it left nerve damage to his hands. Should have had a good surgeon like I did. He's used a cane since 2015 when he had back surgery. Jeez. And revealed in September he can barely hold a drumstick.
Oh.
I don't do anything at all, he said. I don't practice singing at home, not at all. Rehearsing is the practice.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are always having a go at me for not, but I have to do it this way. Of course, my health does change things. Doing the show seated changes things. He can walk, though, right?
Yeah,
can he?
I guess so, yeah.
It's just difficult for him.
Standing up is not the ideal.
It hurts.
Yeah.
Yep. But I actually found on my recent solo tours, it didn't get in the way. The audience is still listening and responding. It's not the way I would have written it, but it's the way it is. Wow. Genesis formed in 1967.
Wow.
55
that was one
years
of the
ago.
first bands that I got into as a kid was Genesis and Phil Collins.
Was it Phil Collins or was it Peter Gabriel at the time, though?
Well, for me, it was
in 67.
It was Collins. It was Invisible Touch album was the one that I first glommed onto.
Right.
Yeah.
But you came along
after Peter Gabriel was.
Yeah.
Yep.
They've got a picture of him too. I don't know that we have this.
Yeah, we put it
picture.
up there. We put it up there. Rob put it up there.
Look at that. Put it up again if you would. Holy
he's
cow!
got another one. Look at that.
Holy cow!
Yeah, a show,
he's
man. I
changed
hate that.
a little since I saw him last.
Hate that.
Eesh. Getting old sucks.
I hear you.
It really sucks. And he's 71 now. He doesn't look a day over, 83?
Oh,
85?
Look, he's got a tambourine, though, going. See, he can still play the tambourine.
Can he, though?
Yeah.
Can he?
What a voice. What a legend. What a voice.
He's great.
And just a storyteller in songs, and I just love it.
Yeah.
And I just hate to see him in this condition.
Me too.
And I also hate that I never got to see him live either. But
being in music radio, I got super sick of his songs because they played every 3 minutes.
Very prolific.
Every 3 minutes. Very prolific.
With his hits.
Mm-hmm. And so when you're playing them, 5 times this show and hearing them all the time, it's like, okay, enough with the Phil Collins thing. Can we stop with that?
Yeah, there weren't many cassettes, remember those, that I wore out as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But Genesis and Phil Collins, those were some that I had to buy 2 or 3 times.
Really?
Because you would wear them out,
Yeah.
That tape would wear out, and then weak spots, and anyway. I miss the 80s in general.
Good times. Good times, the 80s.
You do not get those back, y'all.
Speaking of star musicians, a photographer's 3,200 undeveloped film rolls holds a lot of rock and roll history.
How many?
3,200 undeveloped, now that not just undeveloped pictures, but undeveloped film rolls. Wow. Look at that. Wow. So he's got this guy, this photographer, Charles Daniels, not Charlie Daniels, the singer.
Oh, no.
Has been photographing famous rockers like Rod Stewart, Jimi Hendrix, Pete Townsend, Aerosmith, Steven Tyler, and others since the late 1960s.
These are going to be turned into picture books, coffee table books. Look at these pictures, man.
Thousands, tens of thousands of his photos have never been seen. And they're sitting in roughly 3,200 rolls of undeveloped film. Isn't that something?
That is, oh my gosh, man. Rod Stewart with those tight pants. Now that I don't need to see.
No, you don't.
That is really unbelievable. Because this, you used to get, you take a roll of film, you go get it developed, see what it is, and you'd wait a week or two. And here we had to wait, half a century, but still, this is a treasure trove.
Still, yeah. He's got pictures of the Grateful Dead, Chicago, Neil Young, Frank Zappa, Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, the Allman Brothers, Joe Cocker, Led Zeppelin, The Who, Sly and the Family Stone, and more.
Do you ever find, because I've, cleared out some houses lately in my life, and you find these undeveloped rolls of film, and you're like, man, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see what's on here. Probably me as a 3-year-old running around or something like that. And then you take them in to get developed, and there's nothing in it, all exposed. You know what I mean? There's nothing. This is exactly this is the equivalent to kind of finding the Constitution behind a painting at a yard sale, as far as the music world goes.
Definitely.
That is super cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing these images in a book sometime. Because
the Rod Stewart one is kind of nasty.
The Rod Stewart, I don't want to put.
We don't need to see that.
I want to say put it up, but don't. I know he's going to now. There. Oh, God.
Yeah.
What is that? Why do dudes wear tight pants?
I don't know. It's not. No, thank you. No. I'm not even going to entertain that. Thank you.
Aren't you, though?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not going to.
Have I told you lately that I love you? Pat, have I?
No, I don't think you have.
There's no.
But that's okay.
That could be a country song. Anything could be a country song.
It can. Anything can. You've proven that time and time again, Keith.
Fill my heart with gladness. Take away all my sadness.
Is that the Rod Stewart song that you've chosen to start singing?
Yeah. I guess we're done here.
Out of all the Rod Stewart songs,
I don't know. It's the first one that came to mind. I don't know.
All right.
You want me to do Maggie May? Okay.
No.
Continue.
India is snapping up Russian oil. This is good news. And China could be next. No. Since the beginning of March, 5 cargoes of Russian oil, or about 6 million barrels, have been loaded and are bound for India, set to be discharged in early April. This is about half the entire volume discharged last year. Significant uptick. If China also buys oil from Russia, I'm surprised they don't already. Also widely expected to be discounted, it could have some impact on crude oil prices.
Golly.
Urals crude from Russia is being offered at record discounts, according to the International Energy Agency. Jeez.
This is not good, man. Russia, China, Saudi Arabia,
People
India,
helping them out.
This alliance, lines are being drawn, and I really, really wanted India on our side of that line.
I did too. I'm a little disappointed in Saudi Arabia, too. Although, they suck.
Yeah.
I didn't think this much. I didn't think they'd side with Russia, necessarily. That's amazing.
Scary.
All right. We will, we'll see you on the overtime.
Nice.
Coming up in just a few minutes. Well, 11 o'clock.
We should probably
Central
figure out
time.
something to talk about over there.
Yeah, maybe.
Sure, it'll be awesome.
And we'll see you again here tomorrow on Pat Gray Unleashed.
Pat Gray, only on the Blaze Radio Network.